How about this?
I know.
How about this? How about this?
How about that?
How about this?
You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that.
Yep, you can.
I think you'll go with this, because this is where it's at.
Yeah.
Club Flashpoint 2014.
2014.
10 years ago.
Finally.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
We'd be ahead of the curve.
Wow.
Technically, we'd be time travelers.
We would be time travelers, but we're not. It's 2024. I fooled ya.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Hi, Dale Flashpoint.
Hi, Faden Cross, and hello, Uncle.
You're back. You missed Sonic last month.
I don't think I missed it, but you're right. I wasn't here.
Did you listen to the Did you listen to the podcast?
Not yet.
Okay, see, there it is. You missed it. You missed it. That's just.
I missed it. Yeah,
sure
I missed it.
Feeling of
Well,
longing for
if you
Sonic.
missed it, you must have been playing other games, Uncle.
I sometimes play other games. Yeah.
Yeah, we
And
all
when
sometimes.
we like to
Yeah.
talk about them.
Yeah, we like to talk about one game we've been playing this month outside of the Game Club game.
Yeah.
And Uncle, what have you been playing outside of a game that we're playing?
Outside of a game I'm playing a game. And that game, well, I'm done playing it, but it was a game I played, Ghosts of Tsushima. It is a dress-up game. No, I mean that. That is my honest, earnest take about this game, is that the whole game is built around getting new outfits and powering up your outfits, and every mechanic ultimately leads to finding new ways to dress up your samurai.
I love that.
So what is Ghost of Tsushima Broadview outside of dressing up for those unawares?
It's a third-person action fighting game set in Tsushima, in Japan, medieval time, one of those periods. One of those periods of history.
One of the warring state periods or whatever.
I didn't write it down in my notes.
This game
it
doesn't seem like a historical game.
As much as it pretends to be historical, I don't know how accurate it actually is. It doesn't feel very accurate.
Historical
I'll tell you
fiction
that.
exists.
Well, made by American studios, Sucker Punch, the guys who made Infamous.
Yes, and this game is fun, kind of. But it's mostly you are this lone samurai going on your was it Kurosawa journey.
Oh yeah,
like,
you're doing your Seven Samurai.
Yeah,
you're doing your Rashomon. Did you have a quest where people told different versions of the same incident?
No, actually, which was pretty disappointing. And I did do basically everything. Like I 100%ed this and made a considerable headway into the New Game Plus content.
Oh, really? So this game has hooked you, even though if you don't know what happens in the story.
Yeah, fair.
Like
it's okay. So it's basically propaganda.
Oh,
because you're a samurai. Like you are a feudal lord who's the only person in your community who's technically allowed to have a sword. And
knights are cops too.
Walking around with a sword is the sign that you are a lord, because that you're the only one who's allowed to have one. Yeah. Mongolian invasion, and so you get to look good as in that position, right?
Oh, okay.
You get to look good as the lone guy with a sword. Because you are protecting the innocent people which is a major mechanic of the game. Most of what you're doing is running around rescuing people from Mongolian invaders.
Okay.
And the Mongolians did invade Japan. They did land a few troops at a couple places, and then storms and stuff wrecked most of their fleets and other things that I don't remember historically specifically. But in this game, it's like a big deal, and they're about to take over all of mainland Japan, and they're just
damn.
They're just doing this is their staging ground, and they're getting ready to go. And the very beginning of the game is you and the very small number of remaining samurai on the island are making one big last final stand against the Mongolians. Everybody dies except you and your uncle, who is the Lord.
Oh, okay.
And you become the ghost.
So you're the ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. And you run around this island, big open world.
Cutting things with your sword. Mostly people. Sometimes wild boars and bears. But you also have a bow because you're a samurai. That's actually most of what samurai did was use bows.
Yeah, well, guns. They're cops.
Yes.
They gotta kill people out of range.
We'll talk about the allegories in this game in a second.
They gotta botch hostage negotiations somehow.
There's one big gripe I have about this game, which is the sword fighting actually really fun. It's an interesting mechanic. You switch between different sword
techniques,
positions, and it's very rhythm based.
When Skyward Sword did that, no one liked it.
I like it.
You don't switch sword positions in that game.
You absolutely do. You got to switch which way you're swinging because the enemies will defend you.
But it's with a Wiimote.
In this game, it's more of just a setting. Like you hold a trigger, press a button.
You're not doing dragon.
Yeah, now I'm in moon stance. Yeah. Now I'm in stone stance. Whatever, and each different type is more effective against a specific enemy type. So this is the type of position that's better against
moon damage,
shield guys,
dragon damage.
Well, better against guys with shields, better against guys with just a sword, better against big gigantic guys.
Cherry blossom damage.
Sumo wrestlers, of which there are apparently hundreds in the Mongolian army. Just hundreds and hundreds of gigantic sumo wrestlers, size guys.
They have to have the big guys.
They're not actually sumo wrestlers. They're just huge, big brute types.
It's the Batman Arkham Asylum hierarchy of bad guys. You got your normal guys, your big guys, your shield guys, and the one guys who somehow managed to stun you.
The health sponges.
Combat is very similar to that type of game. It kind of felt like that with counters and parries.
Yeah. Waiting for the opponents to attack, pressing the button, blocking it, doing a counter.
Yeah, and it's satisfying. It's fun to do. It's I think it's too easy. And there is a harder mode where a single sword strike kills you, and that's too hard for me.
Yeah,
so it's either too easy or too hard. I didn't really find it. I mean, I had fun playing at the medium hard difficulty. And I mean, you can make it harder too, especially in the New Game Plus. You get stuff. You can curse yourself, which I will say that's the kind of hard games that I like. The ones that are like, here are ways you can make this harder for yourself to have fun.
The difficulty.
Here's an option.
And we'll talk about that for our main game today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that's a part of it.
Oh.
And it's something I appreciated being there, but didn't work for me. This, for some reason, did work for me. And I did like making it harder for myself, and I liked wearing outfits that just looked neat instead of
that's the best.
Instead of actually having the best mechanics for that specific combat situation.
Rule of cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to know the one thing? Do you want to take a guess about the one thing I knew about this game before you started talking about it?
I have no idea.
Bathing in the hot springs. Seeing
that's
butt.
Very interesting that's the one thing you knew about this game, because it's actually a pretty small part of the game. So a similar mechanic. So there's lots of little mini things you can do like that. Like you can sit in a hot spring, press a button to choose what you think about for 3 seconds. You see a butt, yes.
See, that's the important part.
But it's more about sitting and reflecting in peace in the midst of combat.
No, it's about
you
butts.
think about something, have very, surface level thoughts, and then you move on, and your health pool has slightly increased.
Oh, okay.
There are also things where you could just go out and sit at specific locations on the map and compose a haiku. Like, they give you 3 options for the first line, 3 options for the second line, 3 options for the third line.
Were they good?
Rarely.
Okay.
Rarely.
But yeah, it was a very interesting possibility. You know, there were times that I did like some of the poems I composed. No, I didn't write them down. And I don't know. I thought it was an interesting mechanic. It's a way to get people who would never fucking write poetry think about composing poetry.
That's true.
And you are rewarded with something that is completely ignorable. It's a headband.
Oh, okay.
A new headband.
New clothes.
New clothes with no mechanical improvement. Just
hell yeah.
It's just a headband. So you could totally ignore that part of the game.
But are the headbands cool?
Some of them, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And some of them feel right with certain outfits and dyes.
Yeah.
And a weird thing to compliment about this samurai game, it helped me, somebody who really struggles with color composition and outfits. Picking outfits is so hard for me in real life and just generally in games. I felt everything looked cool. I wanted to try every combination of colors. I wanted to try every combination of hat, mask, headband, outfit. That's why I really intentionally described this as a dress-up game, because that's how I experienced it. It's some neat sword fights and dress-up and horrible allegories for war and cops and using force to help people.
I heard it was also very nationalistic.
Everything that is a samurai story ultimately usually is. Yes, it is, and it's it's very ahistorical in that way, where it's like, we are Japanese people who must defend Japanese people. Like in that time period, that specific kind of. It's just, I don't know. It was weird. But what really bothered me specifically was just a dumb story element where one of the messages of this game is, if you use too much force, your enemies are going to use too much force back.
Right.
And that's kind of cool. I kind of liked parts of that argument, but they used it they did it in the dumbest way, where your character at one point gains access to poison and uses poison on some enemies to take out a big group of guys right before they ambush your guys. And in the story, all of a sudden, this is the end of the goddamn world, because now you've taught them about poison. You taught them to use poison, and they can use poison now. As though this massive world-spanning empire has never heard of fucking poison before.
Right.
The Mongolian Empire, famous for using biological warfare all across the expansion. This is like well into the domination of their empire in the historical timeline.
Yeah.
So they would have known about poison before. Like, what a weird story choice. Just
that's
so weird.
strange.
Like, why not like a new sword technology, a new like maybe Japanese arrows are just so fucking good, and by using, I don't know, like something like that, poison.
Yeah.
That's kind of a lame gripe, but there's a gripe I have about that game that really did bug me. But I mean, for the most part, it's kill people. Like you really you should really just kill lots of people. And there are parts of the game where there are people who regret doing that. So I don't know. It's a very soft take on
violence,
all violent issues, like you would expect.
Violence is not good.
Yeah,
but
violence
also
is.
Sometimes we must
But
have. But
also sometimes you have to use it.
But you got to use it honorably.
Yeah, and you'll regret it. But also, it's really fun. But
also we have to make a game where killing's fun. So
So, what's the message? I don't know. It's a dress-up game.
That's a game. I love that.
But I did have fun playing it. It's easy to play compared to some other games that people might play.
That's true of a lot of games. Yeah.
It was convenient to play. It took care of the gamer, which is something every game does. But is that what every game needs to do? I think that's a question that might be interesting for today.
I played Octodad before.
Yeah.
That's a fun game.
Yeah.
But that game's, it kind of is similar to the game I played this month.
Yeah.
Which I played Arctic Eggs.
Arctic Eggs.
Arctic Eggs.
Okay. You played Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah, I played Arctic Monkeys. Love that song. Arctic Mummies. Yeah. Mummies. Oh my god.
The one Arctic Monkey song.
Which one is that?
Goes, and they use it on like every Chevy commercial.
Oh, is that actually? Is that really?
That's Arctic Monkeys.
That's so funny.
It's the Chevy song.
I didn't know that.
Is your truck built like an Arctic monkey? I
didn't know that was a real song. I thought that was just like the Chevy truck noise.
Sponsor.
No, it's not.
Definitely not.
So yeah, I played Arctic Eggs, which is a like a kind of lo-fi 90s aestheticized style game about cooking eggs in Antarctica in 2099 or something like that, or 2090.
People are hungry.
You play as a prisoner who tried to escape their fate, and so they basically lobotomize the prisoner to only do two things: walk around and cook. And yeah, that's all you can do. You can't talk.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, that's horrifying. So you got to go around and basically just cook for people who are hungry. There's a lot of chicken eggs, and so you have to cook eggs the correct way, cooked on both sides.
Over easy.
Nope. You just got to cook them all the way through. So it's kind of like over hard.
Okay.
I think.
Gross.
I mean, okay. We can't get back into the egg-related discourse we had this morning. So what's fun about it is cooking is wild. You just have a frying pan. You don't have a spatula or anything. So you drop an egg onto the pan, and you got to cook it and then flip it. Flipping it takes a lot of finesse. If it's too far to the edge of the rim of the pan, it will launch any object away from, like, just out of bounds. And if any ingredient goes out of bounds, you have to restart the dish. Cook it again. So you cook it, flip it, cook the egg fully, boom. Then they start throwing different things at you.
It's like an extended Mario Party minigame. I watched Faden play it for a while.
Yeah. The first weird thing they start adding is bacon. Not really weird, but it just cooks a bit longer, and it's really long, so it's a little harder to flip than an egg. And then this one person's like, hey, I want beer with my eggs. And they put a beer bottle on the pan, and you have to keep the beer bottle upright.
Okay.
While in order to cook things, you have to move them around. So you can't just hold an item there and it be still. It has to have momentum of some sort to count as cooking.
Can I ask how the player is what controls are these?
Oh, so I used it on a controller, so I was pressing like left trigger to start cooking and moving things around, and it doesn't flip the pan as much. You let go of left trigger and then move the mouse stick or the control stick.
Okay.
And the stuff starts flipping around.
That's interesting.
It's really fun. It's intentionally hard to flip things and move things.
Yeah.
But then you start upgrading to other weird stuff, like cockroaches.
Right.
Because you want bugs for the spicing, the flavoring of the eggs.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure the cockroaches don't escape from the pan, so you have to flip them on their back as they're trying to escape. But if they escape, you got to start the whole dish over again.
Okay.
Soldiers intentionally love to fuck with you because they have power over you and they want to exploit it for their own entertainment. Or they don't want some prisoners to have food, and so they'll throw ammunition into the pan. And after a time, the ammunition will blow up, knocking items away and out of the pan. Wow. So you have to flip the bullets out or position your pan in a way so when it blows up, your food stays in the pan.
That's remarkable. It's kind of difficult to picture, but it's very interesting.
It's hard
goofy.
to picture.
It's as goofy as
It's a very goofy game.
Yeah.
You're trying to feed 27 people so you can feed the Sage of the Six Stomachs, who is a being that has 6 stomachs that you have to feed in order to beat the game. Great ending to the game. I don't want to say much more of that. For people who are interested in this game, they should really try it. It's a lot of fun. It's also has a lot of good quotes in it. It's
a Faden game for sure.
Yeah, one person said to me, I don't need sex. The government fucks me every day.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
The world is run by lefties. Left-handed people control the fucking world. Just shit like that.
Okay.
I won't eat your eggs. I won't eat your beautiful, tender, caressing eggs.
I like that one.
Just stuff like that. One of my favorite things to do is cook ice, but they don't want the ice melted. They want it warmed up. They want warmed up ice. So you get a shot glass, not a shot glass, but a whiskey glass.
Yeah.
And then you throw ice cubes into the glass. If you miss, though, they just melt, and then you have to restart the dish.
Gotcha.
But you have to keep the ice in the glass while also moving around the food and making sure you're flipping things to not flip the glass over. If you flip the beer over, that's technically okay. You just have to have all the liquid in the pan still by the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you explain this game,
it
sucks, but it's like watching it is so interesting.
Yeah,
it's such a visually like.
I'm interested to go look it up.
I do want to say something.
Yeah.
I'm a notorious hater of the baked-in CRT filter that modern games have adopted. This game does something that I think works.
It's weird.
It's weird in a way that is like, hey, we're doing our own damn thing.
So the character models are very polygonal PlayStation 1 style character models with that sort of phase 2. And there's scan lines kind of on the screen. But it's like the character models does a separate scan line than the background.
The character models are breathing.
Yeah.
Like you're coming up on mushrooms or something.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It looks like a very, It looks like when you're on mushrooms and things just start shifting.
Yeah.
All characters look like that. So they are on a different sort of scan line than the background scan line, and it creates these weird, almost hallucinogenic and trippy effects.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I do like it a lot.
It's a game that's really just kind of about the joy of trying to keep ridiculous things in a pan.
It's a long form. It's a long form Mario Party minigame, which is cool.
It's also very short. It's also very short.
That helped me conceptualize this.
That's the other thing. It only took me a couple hours, like 2-3 hours to beat.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to do all the cooking missions. If something's hard, you can just say, "Well, I'll try a different one." I only have to feed 27 people. I don't have to feed everyone.
Okay.
In order to beat it. Oh man, the ending's great. There's a lot of good stuff in the ending too. It's a very nice game, very dystopic cyberpunk future game.
Yeah. With heavy tongue in cheek, like
when you first described
things suck, but we're gonna laugh at it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the one lady saying, "Damn, this room temperature ice is crazy."
That's pretty good.
And she looks like she's hungover drunk, just laying on a pile of garbage, holding a glass out.
I like that.
There's characters dancing on the dance floor, and the text that appears by characters when they speak goes with their dance movements. So some characters I couldn't read because they were dancing so erotically. Not erotically.
Erratic.
Erratically. Why? Nobody was dancing sexy. Well, some people tried, but it wasn't sexy. It was weird, especially when they did a backflip too randomly. But yeah, so when characters dance, the text moves with their arms and hands, and it's impossible to read some of them.
That's pretty funny.
And then I'm all of a sudden cooking 2 beers with some eggs.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's a game that makes you go, hell yeah.
It's a game that does make you go, hell yeah. Especially when you keep the beers upright and also flipping the egg, but still keeping the beers upright.
That's pretty sick.
It does make you feel really cool. So yeah, Arctic Eggs. Great game. Absolutely love it. Highly recommend it.
Well, on a contrast to Arctic Eggs and also to the game we played this month, why hasn't anyone said it yet?
It's in the title.
It is in the title.
People know.
And we'll say it enough later. It's like Beetlejuice. We don't want to.
What if we just don't say it?
If you say it 3 times, it does appear behind you.
Okay.
We better say it never then.
Yeah. Okay. Not a good idea.
In a row, you got to give time between
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, if Beetlejuice worked, like you only have to say Beetlejuice.
That's the 3rd time.
3 times in your life.
We are playing Beetlejuice this month.
Oh wow!
For the SNES, no SSE, no NES. The famous Beetlejuice game is on the NES,
On the NES.
I believe.
The Nintendo Entertainment System.
The Famicom.
So, yeah, the game that I played is not Beetlejuice. It's not... what else did we say? Anyway, I played Bloons Tower Defense 6. Which is the 6th installment in the Bloons Tower Defense game, which started out in 2006 as a little flash game on the internet browser, developed and published by Ninja Kiwi.
Yeah.
And they're still alive and well, and holy shit, this game still slaps.
That sounds like a studio name from the 2000s.
Right?
Yes. Is it like a kiwi bird?
Kiwi bird.
Dressed as a ninja?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Yeah. This is the most 2000s ass. I learned about this bullshit bird in New Zealand. What if it was a ninja? The coolest thing ever in the 2000s.
Absolutely. You are
Not
correct.
a pirate. Pirates are lame.
Pirates are lame. Cowboys are the worst. Ninjas all the way. So yeah, Bloons Tower Defense 6. They have come a long way from just, placing your dart monkeys and leveling up your dart monkeys. There are now, I think, 20 different monkeys to power up and place in this tower defense world. For those not familiar, it's a war, all-out war against the Bloons, Bloons.
I feel like this was before Angry Birds versus Pigs.
I think it was before Birds versus Pigs. Yeah, this is monkeys versus
balloons
that are just kind of floating there. And the monkeys have found the best technology to fight against balloons is darts. So yeah, different forms of dart-based weaponry, such as a sniper rifle, shurikens thrown by ninjas.
What if you're not familiar with tower defense?
A tower defense game as a concept?
I feel like it's been a while since tower defense games have been actually popular.
You're not wrong.
Right? Isn't that wild to think about?
It's a game you only see in Flash, really. Flash format.
Yeah, Flash format.
Well...
Yeah. There have been a couple of cool variations on the theme, but let me describe the core elements of a tower defense game is that there is a path on which enemies will travel, and you set up towers to shoot at those enemies. And the towers can be leveled up. Most of them do different things. Some of them specialize in rapid fire. Some of them specialize in long range, heavy weaponry like explosives or et cetera. And so Bloons Tower Defense is a very cute spin on that formula of... I don't know. What was the first tower defense game? I have no fucking clue. Who needs to know that? Not right now. My favorite variation on the theme is a game series called... Oh, I just forgot. Coffee Stain Studio published this game.
What is it? What happens in it?
You build the track. So you have...
Tower Wars.
No.
I like Tower Wars, which is you build the track, and also you can do it against other players. I also like... Final Fantasy Crystal Defenders, which I started playing after watching you play Balloon Tower Defense on the PSP.
Sanctum is the name of the game by Coffee Stain Studios, but that's a first-person shooter, so you build the track, and then when you place the towers and then hit go, you can also shoot along the side with your towers and move around. And that was cool. But Bloons Tower Defense 6 introduces, on top of all of the fanciful new things, submarines, tanks, crazy airplanes and stuff, now there are hero units that have like different powers and different themes. And for example, one is just this giant monkey. His name is Pat. And the more you level up... Pat Labor? What?
I don't know. Just continue on.
Just Pat. Big old Pat. And so Pat gets stronger and stronger, and as the balloons get stronger in their development, so they'll like...
How do balloons get stronger? What do they do?
Yeah, they start plating.
Oh, okay.
They start out as just little red guys, but then they get a blue skin and then a green and a yellow, and they get more layers
skins.
to them.
And then?
But they're layers. And then they develop into Zeppelins and like those kind of balloons.
Like World War One.
Like World War One, hot air balloon, Zeppelin style. Yeah.
God, we should go back to Zeppelins.
And so Pat's special ability is that he can grab these Zeppelins and squeeze them and pop them down to their next smallest size, which is just so much fun. There's another hero that has like a bow and can shoot really fast with a bow. Another hero's in a tank, which is freaking awesome and is good to
I love Advanced Wars.
Shoot against the lead-coated balloons. Lead-coated balloons are hard, that's got to use explosives against that. There's one hero that's like a necromancer and can summon balloons from the dead and fight on your side.
Wait,
cool.
balloons from the dead?
Balloons from the dead,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
It's a great game. It's one of those brain-off games for me because it's very simple, even on harder difficulties. Sometimes you get caught with your pants down and you're like, oh, I forgot to prepare for that.
I hate being caught with my pants down and then I forgot I wore no underwear.
Oh, it's the worst. It happens a lot in Bloons Tower Defense 6. On... What's the intermediate and above maps? Sometimes the balloons start coming from different directions and things change up on you. It's good. It keeps you thinking about I don't know where you spread your power out. So you really want to focus on having rapid fire, but also the ability to see camouflage balloons. But also
tactically stealth balloons.
That's right. They go under the radar.
B-52 ballooners.
And then those lead-based balloons, like I said, you got to have enough explosives to deal with that. And then once they start turning into the big Zeppelins, it's anybody's guess what's going on. So it's a good balance between trying to power up while also trying to figure out how to generate enough resources, money, to spend on those power-ups.
Now, what do they do? Like, sure, the balloons are bad, but why?
Because they're trying to get to your base and hurt you.
Yeah.
Okay, but what are the balloons doing?
So they're trying to get to you?
They're trying to get to you on the path.
Right, okay, of course. But lore-wise...
Right. They're coming at you.
Exactly.
Okay, but why?
Because
they are...
Why do the balloons hate the monkey? What has caused this race war?
Originally, long ago, there were... Really, it probably was the monkeys first. Because in the original Bloons games, you are just a monkey throwing darts at balloons.
Yeah.
So balloons are just coming their way. Are the balloons sentient? Or are they just like forces of nature?
I think they're just some of the big ones look sentient. They got faces and stuff.
Or is that evolution where they develop
the
faces because they're evolutionary advantageous?
Yeah, and they're trying to scare the monkeys.
Right.
So now the balloons have become the aggressor, I think, in later editions of the game.
This could be generations later.
Yeah,
cycles of violence.
600 years later.
It's the sixth generation of balloon defending.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Yeah, who even knows why it started?
Yeah.
Who remembers?
At this point, all meaning is lost.
I can't wait for Balloon Tower
The
Defense
only thrill
0.
is hearing the pop of a balloon.
In real life or in the game?
Yes. I can't wait to get home and play Bloons Tower Defense 6 while we're doing a TTRPG tonight.
You better not.
You'll never know.
I actually will. I can...
Pop.
Yeah, we just hear
just hear the pops in the background. Are you going to make a move? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, what? What are we doing? Where are we at? Are we ready to talk about the game of this month?
I think it's about time. Yeah. I think it's about time to do an elevator pitch for the game of the month, October, scary month, scary season. We did
Scary game,
scary concept, scary ideas, Pathologic 2.
Yeah. Ooh. Who's doing the elevator pitch?
Can I? I haven't done one in a while.
Sure, if you want.
I think I could do this.
You think you could actually earnestly pitch it?
I think so.
Damn. You sure?
I'm ready. I'm ready to not say dog shit too many times.
All right. Dale, you're going to have to pitch Pathologic because here on Club Flashpoint, we like to do something called the elevator pitch, where one of us has 30 seconds to pitch this game.
As though passing between floors.
Right, on an elevator, and you happen to...
see an executive with lots of money. Here's my idea. I'm ready.
Oh, that's your idea?
Mm-hmm. Did you guys say 3, 2, 1, go?
Yeah, I know. But it was just funny. It's like, here's my idea, I'm ready. It's not really an idea, that's a statement.
Oh.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Metaphors are a powerful and obscure medium of conducting narrative. And when you combine metaphors with the theatrical relevance of stage acting, I think what you would get is a powerful and visceral experience. I want to set that visceral and powerful experience in a town infested with a plague and give the player the agency to have a bad time.
Yeah. Damn, that was actually a concise pitch, but I didn't hear anything about toxic yaoi, so I don't know how full it is.
Like I said, your world perception shapes your view of media.
Yeah.
Yeah. Audience, you are in for 3 probably completely different perspectives.
Yeah, so we played Pathologic 2, developed by Ice Pick Lodge. Came out in 2019.
Yeah.
It is a remake / sequel /
spiritual
reboot
successor /
of the first game Pathologic, which came out in 2008 or 5 or 5 or 6.
2005. It was an old game.
Yeah,
they released a few games between that, stuff like The Void, other things. All I know about is The Void, which sounds really cool, and I want to try that sometime. It's like about colors and like bringing color back to the world. So yeah, we played Pathologic 2. Let's hit general like thoughts. How are you all feeling about this game? Let's go to you, Uncle.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? How did this go? How did this experience go to you? Because this is a different month than normal, where we normally play a game to completion. All of us.
Yeah.
Only one person finished this game.
Yeah.
And they may have finished it twice.
You did. I watched you finish it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I came here today and that is basically all I could say about this game so far. I don't think I had a good time playing it. I don't really know how I feel about this game. It was very frustrating. It was very, very frustrating. And everyone I know who likes this game, every review I've seen that was a positive review or had good things to say about it said, this is a very frustrating game. And that's great. And for me, this is a very frustrating game, and I don't want to keep being frustrated. So I just stopped playing. This is not the first time I've tried this game. When it came out in 2019, I had heard about it. I'd heard about the first game before. I have no idea where I heard about it before, but it interested me. I knew the first one was never going to be for me. It was a little too clunky from what I'd seen, a little too obscure.
Too Eastern European jank.
Yeah. But this game, I heard some positive reviews that were vague enough about the story that nothing was spoiled, that nothing, it was even, not even really going too far into mechanics. Like, I want you to experience this game. You should really try this game. It's about, all kinds of things, but mostly it's about suffering and frustration and the human condition of making choices and not knowing the consequences until they happen.
Yep.
It's about not having enough time, not having enough foreknowledge, not having enough power, not having choices, but those choices, not even being things you fully understand as you're making them. And it's all very interesting to me. I love challenging, frustrating, confusing art. Sometimes
you send me noise albums sometimes.
Yeah, I like stuff like that. Generally speaking, and I'm trying to resist saying anything about this game like it's good or it's bad. Mm-hmm. It's just challenging. I think in every regard, I think this is a challenging game, or in many regards. And I just this month. I wasn't in a position to complete this much of a challenge, so I put it down.
How far did you get?
I got, I think I was 1 hour away from beginning day 6, and I just hit a wall. And then I lowered the difficulty in a couple of ways, and then it was not helping me at all. And then I lowered the difficulty again, and it was not helping me at all. And so I restarted. I completely restarted. I looked up one more, like a slightly more specific guide than I had ever looked up before, which in the past, I had looked up how valuable are certain food items, knowing that I was going to have to manage that, and I'm not good at figuring those things out on the fly.
Yeah.
So I kind of looked that up ahead of time. But before that, nothing I'd really looked up. I tried it in 2019 when it first came out. Mm-hmm. Wasn't for me. Is what was my first impression. I was like, okay, cool. I don't really have the energy for this right now. 2019 was rough, and I was having a really rough time in a lot of ways. And I was like, I can't do this right now. So I put it down, completely forgot about it until you said you wanted to play it for this podcast. You were going to play it for this podcast.
And let the record show everyone here was excited for it.
I was excited for it. I still am excited for this conversation. Having even saying that this game was excruciating for me. Like that truly, and I think I said that before about games that we've played, but you
didn't mean it for those ones actually.
Well, no, I meant it, but I don't think I truly understood the meaning of that word
or the depths.
Yeah, and that's something I also kind of weirdly appreciate about this game is it shows you how hard a game can be, I think, and how...
Did you play on mouse and keyboard?
What?
You play on mouse and keyboard?
Yes.
Interesting.
I did.
Okay.
I don't really have a good controller option for this one.
Yeah.
So I played on mouse and keyboard. And the first time I played on my Xbox controller, which was, I think, a lot easier than mouse and keyboard in retrospect. But I don't know. I found this a very clunky game, which you hear a lot. And some people will say it's supposed to be clunky. And I think in a few ways, yes, I agree. It's probably supposed to feel the way that it felt to me. I just didn't like doing that. Yeah. I didn't like managing the things that I had to manage, and I didn't. Although I was interested by the dialogue, I didn't find it all that engaging. Those are my first impressions, and so I looked up a guide. I read all kinds of articles and wiki articles and story walkthroughs of various ways that the game can go, because I think there are a few different ways the story can play out with two specific endings and then third and fourth other kind of endings.
Funny endings, I would say.
And that's another thing. You while we were playing would frequently say this is a very funny game, and I didn't find it funny. I don't know. I didn't find it funny. I understand where there were jokes.
I understand the outline.
I'm not going to say there were no jokes. This isn't a funny game.
They just didn't land.
It didn't land for me. Yeah.
Dale, do you want?
And now I'm done with my first impression. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Dale,
this game is not for me. I think it seeks out exactly what it sets out to accomplish, or it sets out to do something and accomplishes exactly its goal, which is a miserable experience. And I like things that are fun. And this game is distinctly not fun. I think that is the point of the game. I also find the metaphors and like the construction of what is a game, what is a narrative, we're breaking the third wall, the fourth wall, whatever bullshit. I forget. And I just don't think it lands in a way that other games do. There are other experiences that have similar themes, and especially
Do you mind if I'm a little rude?
Go for it.
Can I call it such as?
Such as?
Yeah.
And what
games do you think are better at doing metaphors?
Oh, I think Outer Wilds is a perfect example.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. That's a great example of metaphors.
I think that... why can't I think of it? It was one of my favorite games of last year.
Soma?
with the wings. Cocoon.
Oh, Cocoon. No, you don't have to keep it. I was just curious what you think. Like
top of the top, Outer Wilds for sure.
Yeah.
Would be a way better just example of this game.
Yeah.
Outer Wilds is hard. Outer Wilds is difficult.
I would say equally.
But in an enjoyable way, in a way that presents optimism instead of abject misery.
How far did you get?
I made it about 2 hours.
Oh, man.
I made it about 2 hours.
That's even less than I thought. Wow.
I think my playtime says like 2.6 hours or something like that. Wow. I got to the first part of the game where it's kind of teaching you like how to go to bed. And when you go to sleep for the first time, you're met with a kind of a representation of what happened at the beginning of your day, how you killed 3 people, and it gives you a chance to relive that. And I said, well, fuck this. I know how to, like, run away from fights now, so I'm going to try and do that. And I didn't get away, and they killed me. And so when that happens, you wake back up, like, minutes later in real life.
Yeah, well, when you have dreams, you're kind of thrown out of your actual rest, and you have to go back to sleep.
Yeah, cool. And so when you wake back up from that experience of choosing to reject what happened, you have no health. You have, like, a hit worth of health. And I was like, well, that sucks. So let me go back to sleep and heal for the day. I'll just try again tomorrow. And this rat guy was like, hey, you're wasting time. What are you doing? Wake back up.
The rat prophet.
And so I woke back up and I still had no health, and I realized that no time had advanced, and I was like, you know what? I did have some excitement for this game experience because I had watched some pretty interesting YouTube videos about Pathologic 1, and I recognized what it was trying to do, and I thought I would at least want to try that experience. And turns out it's not for me.
Did you play on mouse and keyboard?
I played on mouse and keyboard.
Huh. I think I figured it out. If you two played on controller, it would have just been the most magical experience ever.
Nope.
I think.
Reminder. I first tried this game on a controller. I first tried this game on a controller. Yeah.
You know.
I think subject matter is everything. And this subject matter is not for me. The pretentiousness of all of these metaphors was unbearable. The writing team thinks they're the fucking best. And if you don't get their metaphors, they spit on you. You fucking Philistine.
Huh.
I hate it. I don't like it. Hate, I will use as the strong word that it is. I hate this game.
Yeah, so I think a little bit differing from everyone's opinion here. Just not much. But this game... How would I describe? It gave me the experience of like reading a play like Endgame. I don't know. Are either of you familiar with Endgame? It is like a very like strange. They're like people just like kind of like talking past each other, talking about like stories in their lives that just feel like distorted and off.
Oh God, yes, this play, yeah,
In the trash can guys.
Yes. Oh, I've seen it a couple times actually.
Yeah, it's a very famous absurdist play.
Yeah.
And I think this kind of follows from a tradition. Yeah, no, right.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you feel about Endgame, Uncle?
I appreciate very similarly to how I feel about Pathologic 2. I appreciate it. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
At all.
That's fair. I think Endgame's really funny.
I think I like Endgame more than Pathologic 2. I'll say that.
Perfectly fair.
Yeah.
Perfectly fair.
Yeah.
But Pathologic 2 feels like it kind of comes from this lineage of strange theater especially with the way it uses theater and staging as a main method to explain the story, to like push the narrative forward, to talk about to zoom out of the story and talk about the big symbolic things. Theater of the Cruelty specifically is the thing that I think Pathologic leans heavily on, where the experiences of Theater of the Cruelty, I'm going to botch this, so everyone, you don't take this as like law or word.
Faden's an out-of-practice theater queer.
Yeah, I am pulling from vague memories of theater history classes, along with doing some research.
It's there, but it's a little dusty.
It's a little dusty. It might just be false gold. But the Theater of the Cruelty very much was about getting at the human condition through struggle, strife, and uncomfortable audience experiences. Yeah. And I think it is something I don't see in video games. I've seen things kind of get close to trying to emulate weird theater stuff. I kind of think about some things in Kentucky Route Zero where it tries to do that. But nothing seems to focus theater in the weird way that Pathologic does. It kind of is like a mashup of that along with like Ibsen and Chekhov. Because it is a weird amalgamation of, there's a very, very hyper-realistic surrealism of these people living kind of really normal lives, but then having these awful things happen to them that kind of breaks in the dramatic way and kind of like a Chekhov thing. But also, the game wants you to have an uncomfortable experience. And sometimes I don't know if it fully succeeds on being as uncomfortable as it could.
Sorry.
And that's fair.
I think this game could have gone further, in a few ways, especially being a medical drama,
I'm even talking about mechanically.
Yeah.
If it wants to be as punishing as it can, there's just ways you can game the system pretty easily.
Well, you can make the game harder too, right? Like you don't.
Oh, that's right. There is nightmare modes. I forgot about that.
You can make it harder.
You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe never mind. The intended difficulty experience for me, which is what I did. I didn't look up any guides. Like I had to kind of say what my overall game experience was. Moving from the theater cruelty stuff, I'll bring that up later as we go on. I beat the game twice, did both endings, tried my first run, ended with everyone but like 2 people on the list of people I needed to protect dying, which did not feel good. It was really sad. I missed all those people. Saved a few others. Didn't save much though. It was a lot of bad times. Didn't know how to get antibiotics. I was constantly running out of antibiotics. I was constantly running out of food. I was constantly running out of water. And it just kind of been this experience of, just kind of walking around, like picking stuff up in the trash, filling up my water bottles. Oh, there's a guy who says, "Hey, you," or "Come over here," or "You there." And I'm like running. Gotta get booking. And Dale is looking like he is about to fall asleep as I'm describing this, or is containing a quiet internal rage that is boiling within his stomach. And so, that might come out. And I just really kind of find all of this delightful, this game. Like, I find a lot of the characters vivid and specific in weird, fucked up ways. They talk almost like, it almost feels like I'm reading Hedda Gabler or Dollhouse. And then they just say something from Endgame. It just does this weird, they're kind of talking about normal shit, and then they just say the most unhinged thing. And you're like, all right, I guess the water becomes bones and it's going to rise and flood the town. Sure, why not? Mm-hmm. Also love that's called the town. Doesn't give any specific name or anything. It's just the town.
Allegory is the word. We're using metaphor a lot.
Yeah, allegory.
Yeah, it's all allegory.
It's allegory. Yeah.
I mean, metaphor, which is allegory. They're synonyms with slight differences.
It uses both too, though. Yes. That's another thing I think is also important.
Yeah.
So this just hit for me in a perfect way.
Yeah.
This has hit me like a storm. I love the toxic yaoi dynamics between Daniel Dankowski and the Haraspect, Artemi Baruch.
So many people have read that into this game that I don't see it. Like, I don't see it.
So there's a lot of dialogue interactions about you and him trying to make each other like, you're kind of my sub-assistant. Like, you're going to be my assistant. Like, I need you to do it, but you're also kind of a fucking idiot. You need to actually listen to me. And the other going back is like, no, see, The Bachelor is constantly pulling out, I'm a trained Latin expert, a.k.a. medical school guy.
Right, but, like, what's sexual about that? That's what, like...
It's because
that's, like, a work dynamic.
There is... First of all, they're both weird little, like, gay-looking guys. They're kind of gaylords looking. They look like they're queer. There's that kind of aspect. I think especially The Bachelor, very flamboyantly dressed. Compared to everyone in the town...
He's also an outsider. He's not from the town.
Exactly. Yeah,
he's from the big city.
Right. I think
everyone in the city is gay.
Yeah, right? Like,
there is a metropolitan kind of, that sort of deal. And it's also the dynamic of these two sound like they're like a bickering old couple already, like right off the jump. Like an adversarial but love and respect relationship. It's just like catnip for shippers. Like
I guess again for me that's just work dynamics. Like that's it. So I was always just like, what? Where is the romance coming? Where is the sexual angle coming from? Because I've read the dialogue. I
think it's the way you can intensely tell him to shut up. That feels like heated and passionate. I don't know. I have different work dynamics.
Platonic,
Faden
asexual, aromantic communication works like that too. Like I think
it's just different between them.
Okay.
It just hits different in a way. Especially all the dialogue with the Bachelor being very drunk and then showing appreciation of the respect while he's very drunk. There's just like the vibes of the hate fucking is going on in the background.
Huh.
Your worldview shapes your perception of media.
Look, the respect's got it on with all of his previous friends too, of course. Laura is like the future wife. Like once he leaves the toxic yaoi boyfriendship of Danielle Dankowski, he's going to be with Laura, of course.
Okay.
Ruben was, it's the jilted ex, the ex that still hates your ass for your messy breakup.
So the music in this game is really interesting. I love just listening to the soundtrack to this game.
Yeah.
They do a very good job of blending this step culture, which is heavy in the town. The town represents this kind of blend of tradition versus progress.
Yeah.
And the like rock wall meets
air quotes progress,
immovable.
Perhaps.
Yeah, air quotes progress. Air quotes progress.
Yeah. Air quotes tradition too, though.
No, yeah.
Sure. But the music represents this kind of fusion of two in a great way. I think.
Two different cultures slamming into each
other. Yeah. It's so
didgeridoos and throat singing.
Yeah. And then you get to a safe spot and it's like Angela Badalamenti is composing the freaking David Lynch soundtrack.
The music in the bar is the best song in the game.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
It's pretty. It's a thing you can just kind of like shuffle to.
And the workshop soundtrack is weirdly serene. Yeah.
It's a haven.
Yeah.
But it's also melancholy too. There's like light undertones.
Yep. And I will say,
things are sad.
When you're meant to feel anxious, the soundtrack really
lets you know.
It leaves. I feel like it leaves gaps where it feels incomplete at points, and it's like, what am I missing?
There's also like a slow metronome effect too that happens in some songs where you can feel the ticking of the time in the music, which I really love.
You're out of time, Artemy. You're out of time.
I think I appreciate this game. It's just I don't like it.
Should I just give I have a quick summary written up of the story, just like overall, like
run it.
Yeah, I'll run it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is the story of Pathologic 2, just to kind of bring everyone up to speed, and we can like kind of spin out from there, and we can talk about how it worked, didn't work for us, yada yada. All right. So quick summary of the story of Pathologic 2. Artemy Barak heads back to his hometown after receiving a mysterious and concerning letter from his father. Upon arrival, he is jumped by 3 people in self-defense, and in self-defense kills them. We learn that his father is dead, and people think Artemy is the murderer. You kind of go about that, solve some things. On day 3, the town bell rings, and you come to learn a plague called the Sand Pest has infested the town. You fight the plague while protecting the characters that Artemy has met. On day 11, you'll get the choice either destroying this giant tower called the Polyhedron and killing the earth and the weirdness of the town, but also killing the plague, or keeping the Polyhedron around which also keeps the play going, along with keeping all the weirdness in the town. Or you could show up late to the performance and get berated and then fired.
Yep.
That was fun. Or you can make a deal if you die too many times and have your ending stolen from you by a crafty evildoer called the Fellow Traveler.
Or you can step out of the performance by quitting the game and not continuing to play.
Yes, or you can hit quit and never open up the game again and uninstall it from your computer.
Yes.
Oh, I should uninstall it.
You didn't uninstall
That'll
it?
show it.
That'll show it. Fuck that game.
Sorry.
So, yeah. What didn't draw you both into the story? Because I think that was one of the main driving forces for me to play the game.
Wait, what?
Sorry.
Faden is asking what did not draw us into the game. What about it was not engaging enough for us to continue through the frustrating and painful parts?
Yeah. Did the story just not grab you all? Or did you think it was interesting, but the mechanics was too bad?
Oh,
The mechanics
you threw it away pretty quick.
Very unforgiving.
Yeah.
I think. In a way. Another factor for me to throw this away really quick is that I was using a guide. I was using hey, go do there, go here, go do this, go don't do this, go don't do this, go actually not, don't do this, don't talk to this person, don't do this. And the more that I read into the guide, I thought, this is obtuse. This is obtuse in a way that someone not using a guide would get incredibly frustrated with. This is an experience designed to kind of push you away.
Well, it's designed so that you can miss things. It's a linear story event where you don't have to see all the stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't use a guide at all. I had no clue. I was just running around, doing shit,
I don't
trying
think
to
you're
survive.
supposed to use a guide. I don't think it wants you to, and I don't agree that you necessarily shouldn't use one. I think it's a necessary augment for a lot of people because I genuinely there are ways to learn this game by playing it and failing. Mm-hmm. Some people will not learn the lesson they need to learn from the things that happen to them because of the way the game punishes people. And I'll have more specific things to say about that, I think, a little later when we talk more about mechanics and stuff. Yeah. But, so for the story for me, because you really didn't see a lot of the story.
Yeah, you have no opinions on it whatsoever.
None.
Didn't look up anything after?
Oh, yeah, I watched a really good video.
What do you think of the story having walked through it with a player?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a story. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't catch you at all.
No, not really.
What about you, Uncle?
I'll say I was pretty thorough with my reading about the parts that I missed. Mm-hmm. I was actually pretty on top of my playthrough. Even with I say I used a guide, but I mean I had a table of values for food items, like how much of the bar will fill with certain food items, because I truly will never be able to consciously remember how much that thing actually helped me last time I used it. If I wasn't the very last thing I used, gone from my memory. Yeah. So and stuff like that, and who to get which items from, mm-hmm. and which values are what's a ripoff, what's not a ripoff. People can learn that by playing and failing. I don't know that I'm people. I would need
I'm not people.
I could learn that. I could do it. Uh-huh. It's possible if I kept doing it and kept doing it. Mm-hmm. It's possible I would learn. I would just maybe write things down. I don't know. But the game was so obtuse for me that that's an obstacle I couldn't overcome to learn those things. Yeah. So I think this game is trying to teach you a lot of lessons about, I think this game... I want to get back to the story. We'll talk about mechanics in a minute. I want to talk about the story first.
Yeah, you just keep getting distracted.
Because what I want to say is I like it. I like it. Yeah. I like the allegories. I don't think they're quite as astounding and mind-bending as a lot of people describe them as. It didn't really make me think about very much at all.
I don't. Yeah. Do people say that it's a game that makes you think?
Yeah. That's
okay.
in quite a.
I don't use Reddit. No. See, this is
you don't use Reddit.
I don't either.
Get into weird chuds online talking about games. They don't know what they're talking about.
Well, so
don't tell them that.
Yeah, you shouldn't, because they'll dox you.
Yeah, that's true.
Do not interact with the chuds. That's
honestly,
my biggest advice.
I think it's interesting. I like the setting. I like the blending, the two different cultures, but they're not distinct. They're blended. They've been together for a long time.
And some places are more distinct, like the bridge square is less them. But it's like also another point that it's encroaching on their space too that I really like.
Yeah.
The kin specifically of the steppe.
I like aspects of the dialogue. Like, I think the obscurity is interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I didn't think people were witty. I've heard people describe this as a very witty game. I didn't feel wit. I was just like, well, that's an interesting thing to say. That's a vaguely.
I think it's just jokes, right? Like, wit feels different than just doing setup and punchline.
And I don't think it's as jokey as you describe it. But
this one woman was complaining about how people are planning to murder bandits in the middle of the night. A thing that might, like, if you're playing the game, you actually should plan to murder the bandits.
Right.
Like, you should start stealth assassinating as many as you can, because you get a lot of good stuff from them.
Okay, so is that a joke, though?
Hold up.
Okay.
So she's going on about, like, I think it's honestly a red flag that even if, like, someone's a villain, you have the desire to just murder people. I kind of say, I should stay away from those people. And one of the dialogue options you can choose is, well, great, now I'm feeling ashamed of myself. And I just thought that was very funny because me as a player, I was having the thought of, like, well, I gotta, like, how am I gonna kill bandits tonight? Like, what's the main weapons and stuff as I'm going about town? And talk to this random woman who's specifically calling out people like me who are thinking about murdering bandits. I think that's funny. It's a blending of mechanics and writing in a way I think is very clever.
I guess it just doesn't land for me. Like, I get what they're doing as a mechanic. Like, every piece of dialogue is hinting at some other part of the game.
Yep.
Something you're missing or something
that's part of the performance.
Something you hadn't considered yet. It's all very stage dialogue.
Yeah. It also feels like someone's talking on a stage.
A lot of soliloquies. Like, people, like, you're there for the dialogue, but they're not talking to you. Like, it's
especially the Inquisitor. She is.
Yeah.
Aguila is Aguila?
So
some of the names.
So I guess dialogue, interesting, didn't really work for me. Characters, kind of interesting, didn't really work for me. Everybody just hates you or doesn't hate you, but they all have complicated, mostly negative feelings about you.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted,
which is that's not an inherently bad thing. I'm just saying I didn't enjoy that experience. I didn't find it engaging, and I wasn't interested in learning about the extent to which everyone dislikes you and is going to continue learning new ways to dislike you.
I mean, but that's also not true, because there's a lot of people who do like you.
Sure.
There's like especially there's a lot of people who also start out disliking you. Yeah. That start out disliking you, especially like Casper Kane Casper Kane does not like you. Is leader of the other gang of kids that do like you and just doesn't like you throughout it, but begrudgingly respects you by the end of it, especially if you keep him alive.
Yeah.
Just like kind of learns, like, I see what you're trying to do now. I think you're intrusive, but I see what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I like stuff like that, where it's like, I like it when characters kind of, I like both subtle dialogue, and I also like very hit you over the head dialogue, where sometimes a character just straight up says what they feel and think at their deepest core.
Yeah.
Because it's a stage play.
Yeah. Interesting. Wasn't interesting enough for me.
Okay.
And then one more thing about characters.
Yeah.
I like that they all go through changes. Genuine, real changes.
Yeah.
And regret things and change their minds about things.
Yep.
And
there's stuff like Capella becoming a new mistress, and there's a whole plot line where she has to sacrifice her individuality to be something else, to like also marry this Casper Kane to merge the old Mensky, I don't know, the cow people, to merge the cow people with the ideas people.
Yeah, I like that, and I like the aspect. It's like, remember when we watched the movie Synecdoche?
Yeah!
It's like towards the end, he's really trying to create a play that couldn't exist because he's trying to show every aspect of everyone's life who's possibly connected to any part of the play. This is how you do that. You create a living world of a video game where everything in the play is happening.
Right.
but it's all happening simultaneously, and you can't be there every time. So what do? You give the player the choice
to see
the option to see it multiple times by playing again.
And, another metaphor I didn't think of until you just mentioned that, not metaphor, whatever. Another
allegorical reading.
Well, not even a reading, just like another thing that it reminds me of. This structure reminds me of. It almost reminds me of pageant plays, where back in like medieval England during the church things,
yes,
where like
especially the nightly performances.
Well, not even that. It's more like pageant plays. They would have these giant wagons where each section of a neighborhood would put on their own. I'm sorry. I'm trying to explain this here. I'm just watching Dale's.
You're helping me understand why you appreciate it.
No. I'm just giving a call out because Dale just looks so funny. Looks like he's about to fade away. Like it's the meme of Pooh's body, like spirit leaving his body in Kingdom Hearts. And so
I'm listening.
I know you are. No. I know you are. This is your body language is very funny right now. Positively funny. But pageant plays, each neighborhood would put on their own part of a play where they would teach about the Bible and shit. Everyone wanted to play Herod, yada yada. And these wagons would actually be wheeled around town to different locations. So everyone could sit in one spot and experience all these wagons coming through, and they all do plays, or they can go to different places. But it is kind of like an inverse of that, where you are the audience and you want to experience these pageants going on in the town, and you have to go to them to go see it. It's also very like modern interactive theater tries to do this a lot too, where they'll have a whole bunch of different scenes going on in places. You can walk around and experience those scenes.
It's just like a virtual AR.
Yeah.
Just a dumb way to describe it.
It's almost like a Sleep No More, which I think was I kind of vaguely know about Sleep No More. From my understanding, it's like Sleep No More, where you get to explore a house or something and watch different parts of a stage going on or a play going on, and interactions are happening. All to say, I think that's kind of really why it hits for me, is because I can experience these vignettes into people's lives. They're not really coming to me often. I have to go to them.
Yeah.
And I think I have something to wrap up the characters. And then we can move on. We can talk about the mechanics and why they don't really work. Ideally, if I had my way, we would hit every single character. We're not going to do that because I think that'd be miserable for you two. So I want you to pick a card each, and I will explain that character.
That's sweet. Yeah.
Because right here I have a major arcana of the pathologic characters.
This is a very thoughtful way for you to do this. I was really hoping we were not going to go through every character because how many are there?
There are 40.
Yeah.
But they're all great to talk about.
So, and how long is this game supposed to take you, do most people say?
Would
you say
20 hours? 20? Maybe 16. 16 really.
To experience how many characters?
Well, that's why I played it twice.
Yeah. That's a big ask, I think, for a player.
No more bigger ass than God of War Ragnarok was trying to ask me before I jumped out.
Okay.
All right. So Uncle picked a card. Dale picked a card.
Oh, is this the?
Yes. It's Mark, the director.
Yes, I'm most excited for you. I picked the right card, as I always do when I pick tarot cards.
Yeah. So you picked Fortune, the Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
I thought it was Tarot. I'm sorry.
No, it's Tarot.
It's Tarot.
Man, I always mispronounce Mark's name. Do you know how to pronounce his last name?
Mark Immortal.
Is that really it?
I think it's that simple.
I always said immortal because
that's
what
the
fucking word.
Yeah, so he is the director of the Playhouse. He is the person in charge of the actors playing all the main characters, the Changeling, the Haruspeck, the Bachelor. And so when you die, you will go to the Theater of Death, which fucking cool name. I love that name. And you'll be explained that, hey, you just died. That's not good because your actor just died. Well, the actor that was playing Artemis just died, and so now it's your turn to play Artemis. Don't die. Also, you're going to get a punishment for dying because, honestly, I want you to respect the concept of death more, and I feel like you're not taking it seriously. And we'll get into that for sure. because that's I know that's contentious. Yeah, Mark Immortal. Yeah, you're right. It is just Immortal.
Yeah. How do you feel about the reading of this character as just the game master?
He's not the game master.
No?
No.
Because I've heard a couple people describe him that way.
He's not the game master. He's a director. He's not the producer. He's not the powers that be. There literally are the game masters, and they're called the powers that be. Measly and whatever the fuck. They'll occasionally visit you, and they're really creepy, and they're just like they're the voice of God in that world. And they're not even the real voice of God, because then there's the visors and the polyhedron who actually made the game. They're the actual developers.
Yeah.
Yada yada. But Mark Immortal, he's kind of just like this weird little freak. At one point escapes the theater, and you get berated by like a stagehand. Like, hey, where the fuck did he go?
You can meet him in the rations line too.
And then you meet him. You meet him being interrogated by the Inquisitor.
Oh,
the only time you ever see him out of the theater is when he has to line up to be interrogated by the Inquisitor, who makes all things possible and breaks the world in different ways.
Right.
In which case, she also breaks time, because she's hanging out in the cathedral, and the cathedral produces time. But that's not important. Mark. Yeah, he just reminds me of kind of like a bohemian, like very higher importance than he actually is. Like, is dressing up to like be more esoteric than he really is. He's kind of an angry guy who's just really pissed off that the performances are going on. It just literally serves as like not an antagonist, but just a Satan, the Faust.
Yeah. So can I share my thoughts about this character?
Yeah, of course.
So this specifically is the character I hate the most.
Really?
I just everything he said was annoying to me. Like he was just so annoying. Mm-hmm. Like and he's the guy you fucking meet when you die.
Yeah.
And so when I'm at my most frustrated with the game, I meet the most annoying person in the game.
Yeah.
With the fucking most Willy Wonka outfit of all the characters in this world. And I don't like his hair. I don't like his stupid face.
It is Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka.
But from hell.
Yeah,
I don't like
in charge
it.
of the Theater of Death.
I don't like it. I get it. I don't like it.
Yeah, and then he also introduces the most punishing mechanic of the game.
Yes,
punishments.
Probably my least favorite mechanic.
Yeah, that'll be great. Dale, what card do you have?
I got Sonny and Cher.
So you have the Magician, which is Andrew and Peter, the architects of the polyhedron.
Oh yeah.
So these guys,
they bore me.
I really like them because one of them is insistent that the tower is not an it, she is female.
Yeah.
Because
insists.
He's weird.
Yes.
He's like
yes.
He doesn't understand how he made this object that defies gravity. And Andrew, his brother, is kind of the more pragmatic person who's like, there's going to be other things. We created the thing that defies gravity, but you know what kind of would be sick, actually, if we created next? What if we just created a big-ass pit?
What if we just dug a hole? In
this
town where you're not supposed to dig
You're
holes.
not supposed to dig holes in this town. What if I just dig the biggest fucking hole?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be... That defies a law of nature. It just kind of... They are the artsy... not bohemian. I already used bohemian. They're just the artsy metropolitan guys, really, because they're kind of they're from outside the town. They're both outsiders.
I think you can use the word bohemian because that word describes almost every fucking character in this game. They are a little bit extra.
Yeah, they're a little bit, Eastern European bohemian clothed and styled.
Yeah, that too.
For sure.
But,
But they are also extra.
Yes.
Especially them.
Yes.
So that's Andrew and Peter. That's, we don't need to, they're not like. Oh, no, I do like one line. If you have Grace live with Peter, Peter starts like learning, I can take care of other people in my life besides me. I know I'm a mess. I'm a drunken mess, but maybe I can like get my act together to help out this girl who has no one. All right. I'm going to try that. And so I like how their storyline terminates if you have Grace leave the graveyard so she stops hearing all the voices scream out. Because the rat prophet is a fucking dick who just loves fucking with people. So yeah, that's the characters of Pathologic.
Well, who's your favorite character?
Oh, I guess should I choose one?
Yeah, you choose.
Or just
one.
Do you have a favorite character?
Do I have a? Do I have a favorite character? It's hard to not say Daniel Dukowski, because his name's Dan in a very funny way that makes me laugh. But I also... Man, who is my favorite character? I like Orion the Foreman. Mostly because he's the most obviously evil person in existence. And Artemis just can't see past that. This is my dad's friend. But, like, everything he says is so concerning. But Artemis just like, but this is my dad's best friend.
He's the middleman. He's the one you're going to hate the most. Like,
well, that
naturally.
That and spoilers, he's the one that kills your father.
Yeah, well, kind of. As a mercy, arguably.
But he also is specifically trying to destroy your father's legacy, too. He's trying to kill him in existence. He wants Artemis to embrace the power of strength instead of the power of, like, mercy and kindness. Like,
gay healing shit.
One of my favorite lines of spoken dialogue in the entire game, because every character you talk to has a weird, unrelated dialogue that they say to, like, kind of give you a flavoring of who they are.
Lay the barley down.
down. One of my favorites is, I'm human. I'm a huge man. A man of many hues.
Terrible. Terrible. That was annoying to me.
I love that. Yeah. It's so funny because he's not human. He's a minotaur.
Right.
So he's trying to be human.
Right.
Your face, uncle.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's just annoying. Like that. No. Like that's just annoying to me. Yeah.
Any thoughts, Dale, on characters?
I'm in a different space and time.
Yeah. Man, so you're ready for Pathologic 3, a game where you go back in time. So let's talk about mechanics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
this is the most contention, and I think most visible aspect of the game is its mechanics.
Dale, what did you hate the most?
Yeah. What did you hate the most? If you need time to think, we can let Uncle go, because I bet Uncle could list a mountain.
Well, Dale, I would say that I applaud you for having the foresight that this would not be a game for you, because every mechanic I encountered as they are introduced to the game to the player, one of my first thoughts was, Dale would hate this. Dale would hate this.
Yeah,
Dale would never be able to finish this. This is completely lacking in joy.
The one that turned me off the most in my experience was the sleep cycle, and how you can not sleep when you go to sleep, and how time doesn't pass sometimes when you go to sleep.
You can go to sleep right away again, though.
Yeah, you can go to sleep right away again.
If you need to.
Have you never been woken up by dreams in real life and gone, fuck, that was fucked up. I need to get back to sleep. And it takes a little bit longer.
I thought it was annoying, too.
I mean, I think it felt like that was the intention when dreams would wake you up after a little bit of time and you didn't technically get any sleep. It felt like, oh, okay, like, I've had a night terror before.
Yeah.
Takes me a little bit to get back to sleep.
My take is that all the mechanics in this game are interesting for the same reason they're frustrating and annoying, because they're very real. Mm-hmm. Like, this is
What's your least favorite?
Totally surreal game where it's totally real. Yeah. So, like, probably my least favorite is combat is very painful. It's completely unfair. Like in the real world, it's a painful, usually unfair experience. It's confusing.
Nobody gets out of it clean. I think that somebody says something to that effect, right? Like, you can do combat, but you will never come out of it good.
Yeah, and
which not true, but for me.
Right. I mean, there are ways to exploit violence and stage violence.
Yeah, so I love seeing a bandit in the street and then pressing stealth mode, holding the X button, and just sneaking up behind with a big knife and going, yeah, and then they die.
So I hated it the most because I'm so bad at it. Yeah. And everybody says that you're supposed to feel clunky. You're a doctor. You're not a soldier. Like, it's supposed to be weird and hard and not feel right, and I'm just so bad at it. I'm so bad at the combat, even lowering the difficulty. Yeah. Specifically for combat. Yeah. I was just bad at it, and lowering it to the point where it doesn't matter anymore made it, I was already so annoyed with so many other things that I didn't care anymore that was easy now.
Do you want to know something fun I liked about the combat?
Yes, I want to know. Yeah.
So there's, like, when you're running away from combat, if someone gets you from the side, they basically...
The most annoying... You're spun around.
Yeah, you're spun around.
The most annoying part of combat.
I think that's so cool because it like in a game where it feels like I'm being grabbed and pulled, but you don't spin around completely. You only spin around partially.
Right, which is worse.
Yourself.
So this is your...
I'm illustrating a point where
it's interesting
I love
to
it
me
when it
because
does
I feel
this.
like you and I read the game actually very, 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 very similarly.
But
I just hate the things that you, and that's why so many reviews I was looking at. I was trying to understand this game because people are like, "Yeah, this horrible thing, I love it. This horrible thing, I love it. This horrible thing, I love it." And I'm like, "How?"
Yeah, it's something interesting though that you mentioned that combat. You're not because I also feel like people don't talk about this game in the way I conceive of it too, though, because you mentioned something where, you're not supposed to be good at combat. You're not a soldier. You're a doctor, and I'm like, but you're actually really good at combat. You're technically better than even the soldiers in combat because nobody can stealth kill you the way you can stealth kill them.
Okay, so
and also just
you can be good at combat if you're good at this game. I'm not I'm bad at the stealth stuff too.
I know, but
I
the
fucked
people
up a lot.
But the people who praise this game tend to talk about just how miserable it feels. I think it feels pretty good. I like walking around in the town. I like trying to memorize where to go. It feels like I have
we should talk about that. Another mechanic you have to learn in this game is that this map is uniquely designed. You can't get from A to B simply ever at all. So if you're bad with navigation and maps, this game is hell on earth. That actually, fuck combat. That's the most frustrating for me specifically. The most frustrating navigating this fucking town.
The bull.
It made it so that I didn't ever want to go see the story because I'm gonna have to move through this fucking space to get to the story. And I got 5 almost to day 6. I saw much of the city many times.
Yeah.
I didn't learn it. I did not learn how to navigate this game.
The town is specifically designed almost like an anti-town. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be designed like the circulatory system of veins.
Yep.
And major arteries.
Looking at it on a map, it's cool.
Well,
I think that's a cool concept. I think it works better in like a TTRPG. in the theater of the mind, I like that a lot better than an application. I don't like the application.
Yeah, Dale, did you not like the navigating too of the town?
No, there are walls that are hard to see on the map. And then you just find your way in an alleyway with a wall. And you got to turn back around.
Something that really hurts me. I should be able to move through or jump over this fucking thing.
No jump button in this game.
Yeah, no jump button.
You can jump.
R.I.P. the best bit on the podcast.
Well, this is a new one where you lament and mourn.
You can jump.
Button. You can?
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Wait, what?
I'm pretty darn sure, but it doesn't really help you at all. But yeah,
funny.
You can definitely jump in
Never
this
once
game.
Jumped in this game.
Yeah.
See, learning. This is what I love about this game. I'm always learning new things about it.
Yeah, there really isn't a benefit to it, but you can.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because you can jump off of stuff and die.
Well, yeah, you can walk off.
I'm not even saying walk off. You can jump. But yeah, I'm pretty sure because the weird staircase to nowhere.
Yeah. Those towers with the weird staircases to nowhere.
You can do little jumping. I'm pretty sure you can jump.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure you can jump. But anyway, doesn't matter.
The town, though, if you do the right things, which I didn't do my first playthrough, but my second playthrough, I talked to the heart of the earth, of the town, which is the Urdu. Yeah, the Urdu, the Great Bowl.
Yeah.
And the map is now a bowl because the entire map was designed to be a bowl. And so, when you zoom out all the way in the map, you see this giant, great, pencil sketch of a bowl as your map.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so cool. Dale was there when I first discovered it. And it is cool.
The name of the different parts of the map.
Yeah.
I mean,
corresponds to
the bowl parts.
Did that not?
Bowl parts.
I didn't know it was a bowl. I don't eat meat.
I guess. So I guess that's another thing. When I read the story, the things I didn't see, which I think I did a pretty good job until I hit the wall for this game. I saw pretty much everything, and the things I didn't see went exactly as I assumed they would. I felt really smart.
Smart gamer moment.
Yeah, I felt smart reading about this. I was like, okay, this actually, I don't know. Maybe I'm just tooting my own horn here, but it felt like this was a very predictable story to me.
Yeah.
Like, it happened almost exactly the way I thought it was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And maybe because I wasn't being surprised in the way I wanted to be surprised, that was another thing. I didn't feel the pull to pull through this pain to see things that weren't surprising me.
I was always more mechanically surprised than story surprised. Because the story feels like it... Again, it feels kind of in that tragedian nature, which is interesting since there are tragedians that exist in the world.
Yeah.
Weird. There's kind of this like nature of tragedy where we kind of know how this is going to end. Yeah. You literally start at the end of the game where you say, I found a cure. We need to go get it. And like, you kind of have part of the mystery already solved.
You'll have to pick one of two choices.
And you'll have to pick one of two choices. You'll have to either side with this one or that one. And like, this is like, the game like lays out what's going to happen. I do love the intro of the game. It's so cool with people just being set aflamed by the military.
Wasn't for me. Another thing that just wasn't for me. I was
yeah.
like, okay, so these are the things that are going to happen. I'm seeing them now.
It doesn't happen. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, right. It doesn't really happen like that.
It doesn't happen at all.
It doesn't. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's the other brilliant thing. That is not what happens at the end of the game. It's not the beginning, which rules because I hate it when games are like, here's the thing that will happen at the end. Speaking of games that do that, I am wearing a Final Fantasy 15 polo. I do not like the intro to that game, but I do love it when they are pushing a car and then Florence and the Machine starts singing.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's one. Singing a cover of Stand By Me.
We've gone off the rails, folks.
Yeah.
Oh, podcast. What? If you don't tangent, you're not podcasting. So,
more mechanics.
Yeah.
This is a survival game. We haven't really talked about that.
Yeah, you gotta
core.
And that's another thing.
You love survival games, Dale.
I hate survival games.
I like survival crafting games.
Well, you can craft in this.
Distinct niche.
Yeah, this is managing hunger and thirst and exhaustion and health and infection. And time...
Bars on bars on bars on bars.
Time moves faster every day.
Yep. By the point that the last day is double the speed of the first day.
Yes, you are told from the beginning you will miss things.
Yep.
There are things that will not happen for you or that will happen and you just won't see it because you can't be everywhere. That's incredibly frustrating. Like
one of my
know
favorite...
I'm gonna have to do it again to see it, to know it. I don't know.
If it's a game you don't want to play the first time, why would you want to play it the second time?
Yes. Mm-hmm. The dread of knowing I would have to do that to fully see this game, just too much.
Literally, when I beat the game the first time, I'm like, well, I want to start a second playthrough right away. Yeah. And I never do that with games anymore. I used to, but...
You were talking about your second playthrough when you were just starting this game. Like, very early in this game.
Yeah. I was already plotting my second playthrough right away. I was like, very few games make me ever want to do that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do it right away with Pathologic 2 because I am obsessed. It is going to be a problem now. Like, I'm hoping next month for the other games I play besides our next month game is going to be Pathologic 1. Because I want to beat that now.
Good luck.
I want to go back. It's Steam Deck compatible.
Really?
Who doesn't love that?
Wow.
I love the way that you have to balance all these competing factors. Because there's another thing we didn't... Yeah, but like time is also just an important resource. Reputation in different districts is a resource.
Yeah. How well you trade in districts and how violent you are.
And how many babies you save.
How many babies you save and how many bodies you cut open.
Right. Or
and which bodies you're cutting open.
Well, and also, hey, do you see someone... I love one of the characters like, hey, if you see someone on the street, just... You don't have to diagnose them or anything. Just give them antibiotics and move on.
Yeah. Even if it doesn't help, you have created the perception that you've helped them.
Right. And it just feels so...
That's a mechanic of the game.
That's a mechanic of the game. And it just, especially living through COVID and all that stuff and that going on, it feels very, okay, yeah, the perception sometimes matters more than what we're actually doing,
Yep.
I just love the kind of... It's a very cynical game with a very cynical view of human nature.
Yes.
And I just find it so fascinating. Because I don't have this sort of view.
So I think you have nailed the sticking point of for a lot of people. This is a fundamentally cynical. The word I like to use is misanthropic.
Yeah.
I don't think the developers of this game, personally, I'm open to being wrong about this. I don't think they like people very much. I don't think they're very optimistic about human beings. And I think this game assumes people need to be punished to learn. Or to learn the lessons they really need to learn.
Well, that's what it presents in the death system.
Yeah, and that's I just fundamentally reject that. This game is, I think it's trying to be realistic, and life is realistically pretty much just suffering and pain. It really is.
Yeah, you ever tried reloading a shooter? It takes a long time. It's not like Call of Duty, bud.
Yeah.
I will say I watched you shoot someone in the face 3 times in a row while your gun misfired.
Twice.
I think it was 3 times in a row when it misfired. And the simple, non-reaction was very funny to me.
My non-reaction?
No, the person just watching you, go, click, oh, shit, let me try. Click, oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Click, oh, hold on, let me get this. Boom!
Yeah, that's right, you did watch that. You're right, that moment, that was really funny. Just click, boom. And we haven't really mentioned the death punishments. Where
this game actively punishes you for dying.
Yeah.
You get to go back to your last save, but it's harder now.
Yeah, and even if you go back to a save that's even way before your death, it still counts as death.
Still there.
Because you're a different actor playing Artemis, And they will impose penalties of max health reduced, max thirst, max exhaustion, just reducing your bars lower, or removing your ability to hug. Which you can hug people in the game, I found out. So that was a real thing to lose.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was just a joke. I'm like, well,
I did too.
I never hugged anyone, so haha, you took away my thing to hug. Thank you for not lowering my max health again. I died 16 times on my first playthrough.
I think I got to 8. I got to make the choice. And decided, no, I'm gonna keep taking the punishment. I'm supposed to. Clearly, I'm supposed to.
Yeah, on the 7th death, you get offered. Yeah. Hey, do you want to remove all death punishments?
Yeah.
I'll just take something of yours. That's real and valuable. Not you. Not you, Artemis, but you. I'm pointing at you, screen.
Yeah.
I'm pointing at the screen, looking at you, player. I'm taking something away from you.
So I clicked through that. No, fuck you. No, fuck you.
Right.
No, fuck you.
So obviously, don't do this.
Honestly, that's how I clicked through most of the dialogue at that point in the game. Was no, fuck you. No, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I just don't give a fuck.
I mean, Artemis sometimes says I don't give a fuck a lot too, which is great.
Yeah.
Very abrasive towards children at first, but warms up to them as time goes on, especially Sticky and Murky.
My favorite character is probably Sticky.
Sticky's great. Yeah. I love Sticky.
I like having a student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love having a little kid apprentice? A ward of sorts. Who also thinks your dad was real cool.
Has one of the best hearts of any character in the game.
Oh, yeah. Well, so does Murky.
Yeah.
And, so does Tychek. Anya Tychek.
All the kids.
This is the only video game I played that has ever treated kids with as much respect as it treats adults. I've never played a game that placed such an importance on children.
Yeah.
Where you weren't playing as a kid yourself. And it wasn't a cheesy, hokey, they're the future. It's they're very much the bones and the blood system of this fucking place. Children are needed for the town that on day 10, when Alexander Block evacuates all the children from the city, it's empty. The city is scary now because where the fuck did they all go?
Yeah.
I don't have these children anymore who were part of the community, people I traded with.
An essential part of the economy.
Yeah, essential part of the game's economy. Because trading is so important between all these different characters, and you learn that men, women, and children of different kinds, different archetypes of each of those NPCs too. They all have different means, wants, and things they're willing to trade.
Yeah, so you can stow them away in your very small inventory and try and manage that and shuffle things that are sometimes horizontal or vertical, and you don't get to rotate that because how could you possibly rotate a thing?
How can you rotate a cube in your mind? You can't. I love the Resident Evil 4 style inventory system.
And that's another thing. I hate it.
I love it. It's so good.
I hate it so much. I hated the inventory. I hated having to store things in different locations. I hated the crafting.
You can rotate things in Resident Evil 4.
I was about to say that.
That's true.
Yep. That game acknowledges rotation.
Yeah. There are a lot of things you do in this game. I didn't like any of them. You can lockpick. I didn't like the lockpicking system. You can loot containers, and I didn't like doing that.
You didn't like hitting your favorite trash cans?
Yeah,
I had favorite
I didn't
trash
like
cans.
spending 90% of my actual gameplay time walking between locations and looking in trash cans while doing so. That's most of what you're actually doing in screen time.
Yeah, you're mostly walking
around.
It's so good.
And looking through trash cans, audience.
My favorite
That's most of what you're doing.
My favorite trash can run is from the Haruspex Lair to the Twine Brewery. That's my favorite route to hit trash cans. I love that route.
Wow. You're a crazy person.
Yeah, wow!
There are routes in this game, there are streets in this town that are just kind of stuck with me. There's the atrium, there is this bend towards the east that I really love, especially if you're coming from the Bridge Square that connects you to the theater. It is a nice way to get into the hub, and it's kind of a nice way to avoid things and whatnot. It's right below the dream cemetery or whatever, where all the mistresses rest.
I'm just the wrong kind of autistic for this game. I think that's the answer. Yeah. I'm just the wrong kind of autistic.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. This game, I do understand that this game is not for most people. I don't get it. Sometimes, though, because it's hard to imagine this game being hard to me. Sure.
We've been over this so many times on this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for my favorite reoccurring bit. Faden doesn't know how good they are at games. Cue the theme song, folks.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to make a theme song, Dale?
I had better.
I had better. If you don't hear a theme song, yell at Dale.
Because you've got to admit, if any reviews you've looked at, is there anyone who had as easy a time with this game as you did?
Which doesn't make... Again,
anyone.
Yeah, no.
Did you read a single read-through or playthrough or suggestion or review of this game where a person had the experience you had?
And also...
Anybody.
Right, exactly. And also...
No. The answer is no.
The developers very much intended for it to be unbearable.
Yeah.
And... maybe next time I play this game, I play it all the difficulty sliders way up. And maybe that'll change my opinion. Yeah. The thing is, it just, with the trading system, does feel kind of easy to systematize your way out of danger.
This is this War of Mine all over again.
Yeah. That's the game I've heard this compared to the most.
Really?
Yes. Isn't that weird? Because that's not what I thought of either.
No.
But this War of Mine, because it's
European?
a war, and it's Eastern European, and it's very surface level stuff, but also somewhat time management, inventory management, survival game. I mean, there are some mechanical parallels.
Those vibes are just way different.
Definitely, but
I think Pathologic understands the world way more than this War of Mine does.
Yeah, I agree, actually, but I think that the connection is definitely that.
You're just good at games, Faden.
Yeah,
Might I tell the story once more? The first time we ever hung out, me, an experienced Mortal Kombat player, you having touched the game for the first time. I won one game, folks.
Yeah.
I won a single fight,
and we played for hours. It was fun.
You're good at games. You can say that. You're allowed to take pride in that. I think it would be more ingenuous if you did.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. I don't know. I play games online. I lose a lot.
When you say things like, just click the button when you hear the noise in Star Fox while 5 million other things are happening.
But that's just
it feels like a little belittling. Just a little.
I'm not trying to be.
I know that. So then take pride in it.
I don't
say that you're good. Say that you're good. Acknowledge it.
No, I'm not.
You're so good at games.
Fucking Midwest politeness. I'm sorry.
Look, I just fundamentally think, when I think of a concept of someone who's good at games, I just envision...
Video game donkey.
I just envision people way different than me. That's just not me. I'm not trying to be this. I'm not trying to get good.
You don't have to.
What?
Clearly,
I don't know.
Would that not exactly be the case for a video game prodigy? Oh, I'm not even trying.
No, it's not. No.
How could I be good at games I'm not even trying? And I'm good at the game that literally no one says is easy, and I thought it was easy.
And I'm just not trying.
How?
No.
Listen to
hold
yourself.
on. I'm not saying that I'm not
Listen to
trying
yourself.
to be good at games, but I'm not trying to I'm not in that mathematizing. What the fuck?
You're not a min-maxer.
I'm not doing a process. I'm not looking up things.
Right.
I'm not
That's
Exactly.
prodigious.
Exactly.
That is prodigical.
That's so you did things in this game. You were able to learn things in this game.
Over the course of 2 playthroughs.
I am telling you, with a written guide, and if I had taken the time to write down in a journal what was happening to me, and then
this would be
stop,
a great
stop
journaling game.
and pause and talk about it with people who are better at the game than me. If I studied this game, I wouldn't be playing it as well as you played it. I'm telling you right now. Because I really wanted to be good at this game.
Yeah.
I really wanted to like this game. And it just didn't fucking happen.
It's just the people I imagine who are good at games is
Yeah.
way just more hyper competitive than I have in my body.
Sure.
They're okay.
I don't know, and maybe this is I constructed a weird
That
construct
perception
in my head.
Does not negate the fact that you are a game
Yeah.
prodigy.
That's just a weird word to say. You're not born with it. I just like to spend time indoors.
No, you're born with it.
That makes it worse, I think.
I
think
that's another thing I feel about this game, though, is that I think this is a game you're only really going to hear about, and you're only going to make the decision to spend money on if you're pretty sure this is going to work for you.
Yeah.
This is not a game to
there's a
experiment on. This is not a game to take a
I
chance on.
can't remember if there's a demo of it, but I really wish
There should be.
I think there is.
I think there is.
I think there
it's
is.
also it's actually part of the DLC.
Yes. No, that is the demo. I think a chunk of the DLC is the demo.
Yeah, the first half of that DLC. And maybe that's a good way to tell if you'd like it. I honestly think you should be able to buy the DLC separately because I think that experience is just kind of way different. Marble Nest, I played that a few times.
I didn't even look into it. I couldn't read one more word about this
way
game.
easier. No combat whatsoever in it. You're playing as Daniel Tarkovsky, the Bachelor, living the last day before he dies.
So I might have liked that, actually.
You actually might have liked this
because
one.
I think I don't know if I told you, but I told Dale, if you removed combat wholesale from this game, I might like it.
Yeah.
Try Marble Nest.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 combat segments, but they're segments, not.
No, I'm not going to play it.
No, never mind.
And they're not even
This one from there's no combat to, well, there's actually 2 combat.
Well, it's very staged to the point where it's okay, press button, they die instantly.
But tell us more about it, though.
And you just gotta figure out a way to complete a series of tasks that will get you to learn how to break the rules. It would be the pitch I have for the Marble Nest. It's kind of it is more Outer Wildsy than the rest of Pathologic, where it's there's almost kind of this puzzle box. There's a solution. You just got to do the right things in a day to figure out that solution. And I think it's satisfying. I think it's really fun.
Yeah, I didn't like that game either.
I love Outer
Wilds.
I might try Marble Nest.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah,
That sounds slightly more interesting. But
yeah, maybe
set
just
in
try
the
the
same
demo.
miserable setting, I don't know.
I mean, this is the thing. I love the setting. I love the town. I love the people of the town. I love the architecture. It's really strange and weird, especially the polyhedron.
If you want to be uncomfortable, look at this game. Just look at it.
I like looking at it.
I think an interesting thing that I would probably like was if this story was being told in a series of plays that you could watch in any order. Or a series of TV episodes you could watch in any order.
Oh, yeah?
That'd be cool.
I would handle that. I
think there's a chronological order that you have to experience. You can't just
No, I'm saying the day, there's day one, there's 5 different day ones.
Oh,
and then,
I see.
Then there's 5 different day
Season
twos.
1 is day 1. Every season.
I don't know. I don't know how exactly this would work, but what I'm saying
cool.
is playing this was just torment for me.
Yeah.
I would watch this. And that being said, I shouldn't stand watching people play this game in playthroughs because it was boring to watch for me. It was very boring for me. Because again, most of what you're doing on the screen is walking around and managing inventory. Walking around and managing inventory. Walking around and managing inventory.
I like walking around in places that feel realized, and this town just feels so realized in a way.
Just go walk in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right, but
you won't have the chance of getting the plague.
hang on.
That's another good point about this game.
You might have a chance to get the plague.
But that's another good point I want to make about this game is that why do we play games? Mm-hmm. You know, is a very important question when approaching this game. Why do you as an individual play games? Because for me, I want an escape. I want something that is...
You can never escape from
I
your
want
deeds.
something uniquely different. I want something different from what I can experience out in the world that's at least interesting or better.
I play games to watch mermaid monkeys turn into like sea monster monkeys. The more you level them up and the more balloons they pop.
You don't play many games then.
I play games so that when I'm managing a trading card shop that I can open my own packs of trading cards. I also played a little trading card sim.
Oh, really?
A little bit. I play games so that I could be an inquisitor of the Imperium of Man and issue a punishment to heretics who... do not. Teaser for next month. Oh,
not as an Inquisitor.
No. I played a little 40k Inquisitor. That's a good.
Okay, but like, why do you generally play games as opposed to why do you play?
I play games to have a good fucking time, and this was not it, fam. I gotta say,
I play
in
games
the
to
chat.
have fun. Yeah, and you said you enjoyed walking around in fully realized world.
Yeah,
Dale, I loved that what your response was walk outside because for me, I overwhelmingly prefer the real world. For that kind of experience.
Yeah, just going on.
Yeah, but also, to be fair, there's no play clouds in the real world. There's no mystic. Oh,
yeah. You're right. And
there's
so when they are there,
talking to you.
I want them to say something interesting.
I my first playthrough, I didn't get the cow to talk to me. Second playthrough, I got him to talk to me.
Wow.
He actually talked to me. I was like, fuck, the cow actually talks? What? I was very shocked last night. So the thing is, it's why do we play games? I don't think games are a good form of escapism, personally. I don't think games can...
are we doing this? Are we doing the immersion conversation?
I think this is a good opportunity for it.
It's not even like an immersion thing. It's more like the games are so much of the world they came in and so much of a capitalistic sort of art. It is the highest form of capitalistic art, I think. And you cannot remove that ideology, and that... It's just impossible to get rid of. I'm in the real world playing a game. I'm not. There's no escape. It's always here, and I like games that acknowledge that. And Pathologic 2 really acknowledges that. That there is no we can break the artifice at any time because the artifice is what it is. It's just that. And what if we use games to extend a communication between the players and the makers of the game? And I just kind of like that concept.
Yeah, but then the maker says shit through the games like, video games don't need map markers. Only slavers put map markers in video games.
That's not what it said.
That's basically what it said.
And it was also a lament that, but also I had to put map markers in this game. And again, that specific person also, evil scumbag. I guess, maybe we should have front-loaded this.
Yeah, this game was directed by...
Studios Ice Pick Launch founded by...
a groomer.
A groomer.
Yeah.
No, just straight up. And the worst part about that is you can tell when there's kind of those weird tendencies that he has influences the game. The worst parts of the game, honestly, the actual worst parts, is like talking to like the young Kane daughter and calling her like a pretty girl and all that stuff. And it feels really creepy and out of character for Artemy because he doesn't talk to this way to anyone else, even the characters he can be romantically interested in.
For me, it's just, who looks at 30 years of game development history and like play testing and audience reports and goes, yeah, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that.
But they did do it.
Begrudgingly.
Yeah.
Is the key word.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Why?
Outer Wilds is like that.
Do you want people to play your game? Outer Wilds is not like that at all. Outer Wilds does a great job of instructing you how to interface with its system and then setting you free.
Yeah.
Which is what I think this game wanted to do.
I think it
but
does.
They just put in razor blades and barbed wire fences and poison gas clouds.
Well, the thing is setting you free in is like that. Outer Wilds sets you free into the vastness. Outer Wilds is also punishing in that way to me, honestly. They're both equally the same difficult to me.
There's an optimism in Outer Wilds. It's just
of course.
absent.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's a kind of difficulty for some people, though, because if in a fundamentally pessimistic world, that is a degree of difficulty, and so that specifically hit me for like as a teacher, like for kids, punishment is an unpredictable factor in their learning. So like punishment doesn't necessarily lead to the outcome you want. It's going to get a reaction from the kid.
Most often doesn't.
Usually they're just going to squirm in a different direction.
Yep.
Like they're going to avoid the thing or getting caught doing the thing that led to punishment.
Yeah.
That's
either
that's
hiding
the
the act or like avoiding it altogether in ways that are bad.
This game punishes me. My reaction is, okay, fuck you.
All right,
because
out.
I have other things I can do. I have other things I'd prefer to do. I have frankly, for me, more interesting stories to experience. I have more interesting games to play, more entertaining games to play. I have a more pretty world to explore.
But
outside the window,
Ghost of Tsushima not interest you in its story at all? A game you didn't play.
It didn't.
So
I hated the story.
Interesting though, right?
I hated the story, but that's what I'm saying. The gameplay was fun. Like I enjoyed doing the thing I had to do in that game, which was fight with swords and dress up a samurai.
Mm-hmm. and like I think.
And explore a beautiful... I will say, it's a beautiful game.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima is absolutely gorgeous.
Pathologic is wonderful looking. I think it aesthetically hits me in a way that I don't think most games hit me. The thing to come back to for me is, why do we play games?
Yeah.
And what makes...
have a good time.
And what makes something an art?
Oh, video games aren't art. We've had this discussion.
Right, of
video
course.
games cannot be
but
art.
If
Roger
we were
Ebert
to
said
suppose that video games are art, why do video games have to be boxed into a consumerist...
I don't think it has to. I'm just saying it's not for me. Yeah.
Right. But I wonder why are we trained to have these sort of reactions? That when we come to these adversities that we feel like it's a waste of time.
Are we trained?
And of course, we're absolutely trained by the things we do. That's how the system of capitalism and art works. It teaches you how to read things. It's like movies are like this. Yeah. Think about popular movies or popular video games now. They train audiences to enjoy media in a certain way. Marvel movies have trained audiences to sit through the credits, to wait for the after credit scene. That is something it trained people societally to do that now during normal movies, people will sit through the credits to see if there's an after credit scene.
David Lynch's Inland Empire, where there's all dancing throughout the credits, doesn't encourage people to sit through the credits.
Right. And we watch different movies that teach us different ways to experience things. Yeah. And that's the value of exploring art forms in general and exploring different kinds of reaction art forms can make you have. And this is why I really find Pathologic interesting, because it's way more cynical than I think the world is. I think while it does have some optimism for humans in general, it specifically is saying humans need very specific environments to be optimal. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think humans can be optimal in a lot of environments. We are just held down by systems of oppression to make us awful.
I completely agree with you.
So there's my ideological...
That's why I don't like it.
Right. I think have an ideological break with Pathologic.
Yeah,
but
I think it has a bad read on human beings.
But I still think it tells it in a great way. It's one of those fictions where I think it's kind of rancid in some aspects, but I also go, well... But I also like the way you're doing this. It is engaging and interesting to me. I don't think games ever have to be fun. I don't think they ever have to be painful. I think the games can explore in different ways. And this game explores games in different ways that I've never experienced in a game much. Yeah. Closest thing is Outer Wilds. And so that's kind of where my appreciation is kind of delved into. Yeah. To kind of wrap up my final thoughts on that. I truly...
It's novel, but for me, novel is not enough.
I don't even find it novel. I find it as a view of better things are possible of how we could design and develop games. There are things we can do to break out of this stale pop system that is now currently going to be the only thing only games that are made as studios are going under and they're pushing down the smaller scale projects to just go on go big or go broke projects. Yeah. And so it just feels like an alternate view of what games can be. And I like seeing those because those make me go, some people are still making video games. Thank God some people are actually making video games instead of...
We don't make video games in this country anymore. We got to outsource it to Russia. That's
well, people make games in this country too. Yeah. People are making... Norco came out. People are making video games. Games.
Questions?
Dinosaur asks, what would you add to the game to make it even more unbearable or punishing for gamers to enjoy? I think they should add a mode that sends a little shock through your mouse and just physically hurts you.
What's the...
There, you could get that. You could get haptic feedback sensors for VR games now.
Yeah. The actual fuck you mode.
What would I add? I think I would add... God, maybe there's like a lead poisoning button where every time you like handle bullets, they're like very lead forward, and you just like there's like a really slow bar that you can never get rid of. You can never make better, but it's slowly filling up with lead poisoning. You walk through the water, that slowly ticks up. Just like various things with the bad machinery, like just the lead bar.
Honest answer, best way to make games harder is to offer modding access, like good modding tools, so people can make their own new challenges for the game, or give you the option to rebuild the game in a way that's more challenging in the way you want it to be.
And that's great, but what would you add in that scenario?
Specifically?
Tools,
no, that's what I'm saying, modding tools. Like,
no, but what
mechanic?
Yeah, like if you...
I don't like games getting harder usually. Like, I rarely fantasize about...
Of course, but what would you add to make it harder? I mean, I don't think Dale would like to play that game with the shock factor.
Okay, I will say something I've always been
factor.
interested in seeing, and I know there are games that do this now,
of course.
but I want to see more realistic physics in combat. Like, I want to see weapons bounce off of things. I want to see glancing blows.
What? So like someone holding their arms up and going, ugh, that's not realistic enough for you?
I would like to see more kinetic force and
responsiveness.
Responsiveness and so I want to see more interesting physics that will always make combat more difficult because
Red Alert Ray Shields asks, the difficulty acts as a barrier to many potential players finishing the game. Do you think the developers had a specific intent while making the game as difficult as they did?
Yes.
Yeah. And they say that, and like one of my favorite parts of I can't remember the ending name, Nocturnal ending, is you actually talk to all the developers who each one has like a little bit of dialogue about kind of their feelings with this game. Or one of my favorite ones is like, I had a kid, which I'm like, you know what, good for you. I'm glad that's what you put in the game too. Like, I didn't have a family before this, now I have a family. Like, yeah, hell yeah. But yeah, they clearly intended to make it difficult while also playable, and that's why they added the accessibility options, like the difficulty sliders later, when everyone was really pissed with this game for being as hard as it is. And then, again, Groomerly developer asshole basically went on a weird, strange, just stupid, like ill-advised, like get him out of here, get him in jail, rant about like how players don't appreciate yada yada yada, bullshit. And it's like, dude, you made a game for 30 people. Be fine with the fact that you made a game for 30 people. You got to be fine that the mass audience doesn't like your game. You didn't make that game.
Yeah.
Like
I think it would be absurd of anyone to expect this game to be for a mass audience.
And this is also the break of
That's why they kickstarted it.
Yeah.
Right. And this is also like another break of, well, not everyone on the writing team obviously believes that batshit that guy's feeling, because the game itself acknowledges that it's made for 30 people and everyone else seems to know what they're making, and this guy's an asshole.
Derek asks, how would you rate the difficulty personally? Derek, hardest fucking shit I've tried.
This is probably one of the most difficult games I've ever played.
I'm par of Outer Wilds.
Yeah.
Derek also wants to know, how much focus does it require?
All of it. I love it.
Yeah. I would agree with that. This requires all your focus.
How many playthroughs does it take to experience all of the content?
I've done 2, and I haven't experienced it all. I bet I could. You know what? I bet I could do it on my 3rd playthrough.
Yeah.
I think I could do it.
I think 3 or 4 for like a really, especially if you get really good at it. Yeah, I think 3 or 4.
And the last question from Hilver. What are your favorite YouTube videos about games?
Hilver, I love this question.
It's a great question because actually one of the ways I found out about Pathologic was over the course of like 2 weeks watching this fucking 3-hour-long video about the first Pathologic game by weirdos.
Oh, yeah. That's like, what is it, H-Bomb guy or something?
Yeah, he's kind of odd.
Most of the YouTube game reviewers
I don't
are really weird. And the less I try intentionally to not learn about them when I watch their content, because
sometimes things are just too long. Just be brief. Learn how to get some levity, guy. Yeah. But favorite videos about games. Fuck. Doesn't have to be video
got my
essays.
answer.
Yeah, what's your answer?
Video Game Donkey. That guy's on top of it.
Favorite?
I watch Video Game Donkey because I really enjoy the lighthearted content that he puts out there. It's kind of it's not anything serious. It's just laughing, having a silly time. Sometimes video games are developed in a way where you can see like the rushes in the cycle. He's got a really hilarious like glitch collaboration of some video games. And
do you have a specific favorite one?
Recently, I really like his like Rivals of Aether or Smash Bros videos where he's just playing with buddies and talking shit and making silly bits and then going all in on the silly bits like, oh, this next match is for $1 million. Okay, well, I want it. You got to pay me $1 million. And then buddy goes, let's double down. Next match, $2 million or nothing. And it's just fun. It's a good way to remind a good way to remind yourself of how video games can bring people together and how it's just a lot of fun playing games with your buds.
The opposite of Pathologic. I get it.
There's one channel I really like called Mortismal Gaming. And basically he just 100% games.
Oh, okay.
All games he plays, he 100%. And posts that he shows all the achievements, everything he does. There are other things he does that to make it, as he counts it, 100%ed. Mm-hmm. He's very good. He's very organized, and I think he's very helpful in his reviews. And you'll probably like this game if you like these things. You will not like this game if you don't like these. So just useful reviews.
Yeah.
And I get really hooked on the idea of trying to complete absolutely everything on the checklist, which I did do for Ghost of Tsushima. I checked every fucking box on that list.
I used to do that for games so much, and then I killed that part of my head.
It's miserable, but a channel like that helps me. Yeah.
I guess the recent video I've been kind of... Oh, okay. I got two answers. The recent one I've been watching is it's from a YouTube channel called Dance Kofsky, which there's a video of the Haruspeck, the Changeling, and the Bachelor dancing to Pumped Up Kicks.
Terrible.
with a hard cut to shooting people when they talk about the gun, and it just makes me laugh. But there's also this, I can't remember the channel's name, but it's Milo Mart, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, where this really ridiculously animated Link is getting into the horrific fact of Milo Mart from Twilight Princess.
Another good one that I like is Any Austin. Any Austin does kind of short form weird stuff. Let's see. Recently he went around to towns in Skyrim and did an unemployment survey. Which is just, that's what a fun concept, right? Like trying to decipher whether or not a person has a job as an NPC in the town of Whiterun. Or
those ones. Or like, where do the rivers end up?
Where do the rivers end up? Yeah, so
Skyrim,
just looking at like things about real life. Do they get represented in video games?
Or how they get abstracted.
How do they get abstracted? Yeah. It's a cool... Any Austin, he used to go by Eggbusters, which was like looking for Easter eggs in video games. Mm-hmm. Some of those videos are still on, I think, his page. There's a really good one where he found a boundary break in Twilight Princess at the very startup of the game, to where you can just walk around Hyrule Field on the title screen.
Fuck.
Which, cool.
That's cool.
Cool idea.
That's so cool.
There's nothing there. It is totally empty.
Right, of course. Because it's the title screen, Hyrule Fields.
Right. But it's all there.
It's
there.
Oh, that's so
but
cool.
Nothing's there.
I thought of another one. Fucking, if you want to learn about Dark Souls but don't ever want to play them, just watch the Adventures of Booty Bandit. Dia Lacina, she does these great videos about Dark Souls and stuff, and very smart and intelligent, but also very funny because who doesn't love Booty Bandit? Should we talk about what game we're playing next month? This is an Uncle game.
Pick.
Yeah, I wanted something that I was reasonably sure we would all enjoy. It wouldn't be...
I thought we were all going to enjoy Pathologic. I won't lie.
To be fair, and as Faden pointed out, 3 of us did think we were going to enjoy Pathologic at one point in our life.
Okay, you know?
But
you wanted a surefire.
Those were, I think, like 55% bets. Like I am reasonably sure we're all going to at least enjoy this.
Mm-hmm. We're kind of doubling down on a 17. Is what that was.
This is a taste of a universe that I am very, very well versed in. I'm fully engrossed in.
Are you?
Most of the games I play,
knowledge,
if you've listened to other episodes, you know I mostly am involved in Warhammer stuff.
Yeah.
And so we're
40K
playing
or Old World.
Yeah, we're playing
equally
40K Mechanicus.
Which is like XCOM, but you're controlling tech priests, and you get to upgrade them, and the upgrades are reflected on the character models, just like when you're building minis.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Have you already started?
I've not already started.
You're just excited.
I've played it before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's great because you only get WYSIWYG builds.
This is really my first Warhammer foray. Like, this is going to be the first time I've
engaged with Warhammer.
Really engaged with Warhammer.
I'm going to double down on Warhammer. I think I'm going to finish Inquisitor for my second game next month.
Nice. Yeah, I got to pick up another Warhammer game for my second game.
Right, because that's the only games that exist.
Yeah.
But thank you all so much for joining. If you wanted to find me on the internet, I'm on Blue Sky at Faden Cross.
Oh, Blue Sky. That's the new one.
Yeah, I'm no longer on Twitter anymore. I can't do it.
You support your local library. Watch film. Film's great. Film's my second favorite medium.
Inland Empire.
I
Dale's
slept
favorite
through.
film.
I definitely need to give it a second chance, not starting at 9 in the morning when I just woke up.
There's no time. Hold up. If we can't start when you wake up, if we can't do it in the afternoon, if we can't do it at night, when can we watch a movie with you?
My passion is falling asleep through movies.
Yeah, there it is.
I was also going to say support your local library. You kind of surprised me with that one.
Yeah!
That's mind meld.
And, go dancing. That's my recommendation.
Good advice.
Just go dancing. It feels so good. And, if you find the right place, it doesn't even matter how bad you are. Nobody cares. They're
Nobody should care, and if they do, punch them in the face.
No, just dance.
Hey, now, just dance away from them.
Just dance
it
it out. Yeah.
So until next month, we'll see you later.
Don't let the plague get you.
You know what? Don't let the plagues get you.
Hey, if it does, just mix up a bunch of different pills.
We forgot to talk about Schmouder.
Goodbye.